December 7th, 1941, 10 in the morning. The United States suffers one of history's most devastating surprise attacks. With 2,403 dead and her once invincible Navy decimated, America is forced to join the conflict already raging in Europe and Asia. Prior to Pearl Harbor, the Japanese war machine had swept across China, cutting off American aid, and then pressed on into Burma with limited resistance. At home, Japan was building up a seemingly superior naval fleet, led by some of the world's largest aircraft carriers. But Admiral Yamamoto's prediction had come true. The aftermath of the Day of Infamy had indeed awakened the sleeping giant that was America. As the Emperor's armies march toward the Philippines, the United States takes action.
Today, December 7th, marks the 79th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. This attack would bring the United States into World War II and most certainly had a huge impact on your life. World War II has been prominently shown in movies and video games to a point of saturation. However, often what is shown is the European theater, aka killing them Nazis. It is less often that we get to see the Pacific theater where the United States took on Japan. This is probably due to a combination of the Nazis making good villains and the brutality of the Pacific theater. America's fight against the Japanese Empire and its island hopping was such a horrific fight that it's still not shown to its real extent in pop culture. Well, one video game that did depict the Pacific theater has an opening that has stuck with me since I was a kid. An opening perfect for today. This game being Medal of Honor Rising Sun, which has an opening that takes place during the attack of Pearl Harbor. Right in the opening, we see the panic as people rush out of the room you're in, some still in boxers. Moving down the halls of the ship, you see the damage the vessel has already taken. Fire covers parts of the ground while wires spark as you stumble through the dimly lit hallways, trying not to trip over the bodies of your fellow crewmates who are already dead or dying. As you reach the top of the deck, the extent of the situation you are in is revealed. An almost endless amount of Japanese planes litter the sky. You complete the first part of your mission once you've successfully saved your ship from enemy planes and torpedoes. Sadly, not every ship will be as lucky as yours. The next part sees you manning the turret on a small boat as you shoot down planes and offer assistance. One cool part has you help the Nevada, which both in the game and in real life actually beats itself. But remember, while you help the Nevada, I did say earlier that not every ship will be as lucky. Tragedy would strike for the Arizona in the most iconic part of the mission.
Hold on, we're losing turret pressure. All right, boys, let's get her up and running again. Radio's got haywire. Valley, fix that thing. What full car?
And just like that, 1,177 men, who are real, who had family and stories, they were dead. I wish they all died instantly in that explosion, not because I want that, but because a more terrible fate awaited for some of them. You want one of those stories that'll mess with your mind and disturb you? Well, you're getting one with the Arizona. This story has haunted me since I first read about it. After the Arizona sunk, pounding was detected for up to a week after. This means that men were still alive but trapped down there to slowly die. This is horrific. Sadly, people being trapped on the ships weren't just isolated to the Arizona. There's a terrible, terrible story called 16 Days to Die. It's true, and it's about the West Virginia. You see, the West Virginia didn't fully sink. The guards on the upper parts of the West Virginia started hearing pounding, banging noises from below. People were still alive down there, but they were on a part of the ship that couldn't be reached for various reasons. The guards had to cover their ears as bangs could be heard from people trapped in a small room, left to die. Many months later, after the ship was raised, they found the bodies, of course. They also found something disturbing. They found a calendar with 16 days crossed out. 16 days to die. 16 days to wonder if you're going to be rescued. 16 days to go mad. Remember, they all didn't die at once. Imagine being the last one alive down there, trapped. As you move through the mission, you see the damage that has been done. Oil and bodies coat the ocean top as various ships are in ruin. Meanwhile, the Japanese planes still fly above. The end of the level has a nicely done speech.
They're turning tail now! Woo! Yeah! Yeah, but they won't be back anytime soon. You got that right. That was easier than...
Knock it off! And you listen up, Marines. You take a good long look. I hope none of you ever see a day like this again. Or nobody will ever know what it was like. But maybe the ones who lived through it. You just be damn sure you don't forget the ones who didn't.
I want to close this video off with a message. Pearl Harbor was literally 79 years ago. World War II started 81 years ago. That is an insane amount of time. Most of your old grandparents are too young to have come close to fighting in the war. We're lucky to have these brave veterans of the biggest war humanity ever fought still alive today. In 5 years, we probably won't see any more World War II veterans alive. The 2020s are the end for this group of people. If you know any World War II veterans or have the opportunity to meet one, please cherish the opportunity before it's too late. Shake their hand at least if they're just a stranger. If they're family, talk to them about their experiences in the war. As a young man in 2020, it's hard to picture Japan or Germany as powerful, evil nations. It seems like something out of the movies. But it's not. It was real. It was real for these people. These people literally fought in a time and planet alien to our reality. They are heroes who soon, sadly, will all be gone.
Dear Joe, you'll never know how happy and relieved we were to hear from you. Mom and I were clearing the lunch dishes when news of the Pearl Harbor attack came on the radio. Mom went all white and dropped a big platter on the floor. Dad finally calmed her down, but I don't think she slept at all, waiting for word that you were all right. There were more photographs in the paper this morning. It must have been horrible to be there, Joe. Thank heaven Donnie wasn't stationed in Hawaii, too. I don't think Mom would have survived the worry. Like everyone else, we listened to the president's speech the next day. Dad was real quiet afterwards. I think he always believed there'd never be another great war like the one he'd lived through. That evening, I saw an amazing sight. I passed by the Army recruitment office, and there were hundreds of men lined up outside. A few boys from my school were there, and 8 men on Dad's shift clocked out and signed right up, the coal dust still on their faces. We hear now that war's been declared, and once you've shipped out, you won't be able to tell us where you are. Write back when you can, and stay safe. Love from your sister, Mary. P.S. Mom wants to keep all the Christmas decorations up until you and Donnie get home, so get this war over with fast.